And honey, to all my vets out there, whether you're currently serving or previously served or currently up in heaven looking down on us, because, um, I'll even get even crazier here. Peace and love and joy to all veterans in every country around the entire world who join their military to defend their people for the right reasons. I'm not talking about terrorists and shit because F those guys, but you know what I'm saying, right? I even have love for every veteran, Red Army. Even though we had to whip their ass, the North Koreans, pretty much any vet, any young man that joins the military and is willing to get out there and sacrifice his life for his ideals, I got nothing but love for and respect. Even if I'm the guy that ends up in this lifetime, taking him out of this lifetime. Like one thing I will say, the joke. How can you tell if somebody's a veteran? Just wait 5 minutes; they'll tell you. I was a veteran, obviously, or still am until I die, and I guess even after that. How you doing, James Lowry? I will call you James the younger. I'll be James the older. Since there were two James that followed Christ, and so they had to separate them between, Big James and Little James. But anyway, yeah, I wish nothing but love and whatever on all of those Iraqis I fought, the ones that survived. I don't agree with them, but I guess it's I don't know if it's empathy or it's just the fact that once you've been in those kind of situations, you develop kind of a special relationship with other people who've been in those situations. But again, happy birthday to the United States of America, which is kind of crazy for me to say because me and my people were on this continent before the United States of America existed. So, we came over here from wherever in Europe in the 1740s. And so that's why when people are like, you're an American, right? So you're an immigrant. And it's like, I was here before the country existed. So, I mean, whatever. But yeah, I'm just sending out positive vibes to all of the people out there. Whether you were fighting for the United States or whomever. I mean, if you're a British dude and you fought for Britain in the Falklands or wherever Britain's been fighting, peace and love. Yeah, we were colonizers before it was cool. You know what I'm saying? Actually, we weren't really colonizers, though, Hunger. We just kind of hit Virginia and said, hey, you see those mountains over there? Let's go on the other side of those mother effers and set up log cabins and just live in the woods. And that way no one will be around us and we won't have to talk to anybody. And someone else in our little group was like, yeah, man, that sounds awesome. Let's just do that. And that's what we did. We crossed the Cumberland Gap, went in there where Daniel Boone had surveyed around, set up shop on the side of a freaking hill. And of course, we also saved the United States, though. I mean, we got to take credit for that. When the English army was pushing the colonials south and they got down into the Carolinas and stuff, it was as they called them back then, the over mountain boys, which would be my people, come back across the mountain and put an ass whipping on the redcoats. But I mean, to be fair, we cheated like crazy. like the redcoats stood in lines and they marched around with their fifes and their drums, and we hid behind trees and rocks with our long Kentucky squirrel rifles. And then to be even more of dicks, we specifically was like, hey, you know the guys on the horses with the fancy hats? Yeah, hit them first. I mean, so technically we were not playing by the rules, but it did turn the whole course of the war, because the British were just like, WTF, they keep killing the officers, man. Nobody told them that we don't do that. Yeah, no one told us. Yeah, have fun at work today, everyone in the UK. Yeah, but we love our UK bros. You know, we love our UK bros. Everybody knows that. Lee sent me a text saying he's had to work a lot lately. That's why he hasn't been showing up. And that's nice, you know, because then, not that I was like, you know, getting any way about, but I don't have to worry about, it's like now I don't have to think, I hope I didn't piss Lee off and he decided that he hated my guts. No, he let me know. Shit is good. How does this glorious day in the Imperium find me? Eating ration bars that may or may not be made up of human yeast, and fighting enemies that are terrifying, but doing it because I have complete and total faith in the God Emperor. Because I you know how people always think if I was in 40K, I'd be a space marine. It's like, no, you'd probably be one of the trillions of uncounted laborers who just work all day to produce war munitions and shit like that. Or maybe if you were slightly a bit luckier, you'd be a member of the Guard. But you probably would not be a space marine because there's only a million of them in a galaxy with uncounted numbers of Imperial Guardsmen. I mean, just the Death Corps of Krieg, no one's 100% sure how many of those guys there are, but it's in the millions. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that would be our luck. I mean, hopefully, now if you really, really rolled that nat 1 on the roll for what you were going to be, you would end up being like a working in a corpse yeast factory, where your whole job was just to dismember human corpses and feed them into the grinders so that, you know, yeast could grow on them, and then you would scrape the yeast off and that would be formed into protein ration packets for the Guard. I mean, if you think about it, it's absolutely horrible, but yeah, you don't want to be part of the corpse grinder guild. Those guys, half of them end up crazy and the other half start worshiping a variant of Khorne called the god of blood and sinew, and they become cannibalistic and shit like that. If you know anything about Necromunda, they go pretty big into, you know, corpse grinders. A million that we know of, if you don't count. Well, yeah, that's true. Space Wolves and Black Templars don't play by the Codex rules. At any given time, there could be 3,000-4,000 Black Templars because they just recruit. And Space Wolves, 13 great companies. Who knows? Who knows how many total Space Wolves there are? But I mean, that's what's cool about it. You know, it's like it leaves things open. So anyway, I'm probably just going to chill out around the house later today, eat some cheeseburgers with the wife, as a proper American should. You know, watch something on TV, maybe Independence Day. I mean, you know, Will Smith, I know he's kind of turned into the king of the douchebags, but, well, he ain't the king. The king is, you know, Diddy, but he's turned into a little bit of a douchebag, but that don't take away from the fact that there was a time when that dude could do no wrong. Now he can do no right. Black Templars use a loophole about crusades. I think the Black Templars, you could be 100% right. So don't take this as me like being like, you're wrong. Fuck off, Deckard. No. I think the Black Templars simply don't care. There may, in fact, be a loophole. You're right. And they may, in fact, when questioned on it, the Black Templars may be like, hey, loophole, right? But I think when you really get down to it, they just don't give an F. They're like, yeah, we're just going to do what we're going to do. And we really don't care what any of you think. Like me and Hungar, we love those memes where it shows like an Ultramarine standing there, and all of a sudden from the distance you hear someone say, the Codex sucks. And the Ultramarine gets all pissed. Who said that? And you see a couple of Black Templars like duck down behind something laughing because they're like, fuck the Codex. Excuse my language. But yeah, they're like, Codex Schmodex. We do what we do, you know? We serve a higher power. Like the Black Templars are like literally the Blues Brothers of 40K, right? It's like they're on their ship. They all like put their sunglasses on, and like the captain of the ship's like, it's 41XX Millennium. We got half a pack of cigarettes and half a tank of gas. And the other Black Templar is like, hit it. Because they're on a mission from God. You know what I'm saying? They're like, we're on a mission from God. How do you argue with that? The Black Templars go up and you're going to be like, hey, you can't be here. And they're like, we're on a mission from God. It's like, okay. I mean, we got Jason. How we doing, Mr. Dr.
How goes, Sir James? Haven't caught you in a while.
Well, because I have totally switched my sleep schedule. I'm like asleep by 8 o'clock. Jumping out of bed at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the a.m. Freaking. So I'm getting plenty of sleep. I'm just getting it like an old man. So yeah, at 4:30, I'm sitting in the kitchen, you know, hovering over my cup of coffee, waking up, thinking about all the things I need to do that day, which I generally don't, but I think about them real hard though, and that makes my wife happy. You know,
that's halfway there.
If I ever built a Space Marine army, it will be Black Templars. Black Templars, I say, if you are a new 40K player, Black Templars are the best army to build because you build your Space Marines, but leave the shoulder pads off, the pauldrons, right? Then give them a nice, good, you know, light black coat of paint. Use Black Templar if you want to spend the $12 a can. Paint their whole bodies. Go back and paint their bolt gun red or whatever. Paint their eyes red. And then the sprues that have the pauldrons on, you spray paint them white. And then you just go back and paint the trim black, and you put the Black Templar transfer on, which is just an iron cross, and then glue them on. Done. They are the easiest to paint. I mean, to get to a tabletop level where you're like, the army looks really good, and you could paint a whole army in, you know, a weekend or two, if you really wanted to. Whatever you do, don't try and be an edgelord like certain idiots and be like, I'm going to paint a whole army of, you know, Lamenters. That'll be nice. Because one, yellow is one of the hardest colors of all the colors to paint. And have you seen the Lamenter pauldron? Their actual chapter symbol? It's a black and white checkerboard with a circle in the middle with a heart with a drop of blood dripping off the heart. I mean, that is some intense shit. And if you've got 100 of these guys and you're trying to paint that pauldron on all of them, yeah, good luck. You're not going to get it right. So you do what I do. You cheat and you 3D print them that already have the guild or their chapter symbol on. So then it's just paint by numbers, basically. You don't have to freehand. Everything's already there. Frederick, happy 4th. sending out love to all the vets, to America. It's a good day. Yeah, Night Lord's army, you got to paint them the weird blue and then draw lightning bolts on them. Yeah, F that.
Yeah,
And
yellow's a
then
pain in the
red
ass.
Details and shit. It's like, no.
I found because I did a couple of Marauders in like yellow with black trim. It's good after my Mustang, in honor of my Mustang. And I found gray was the best coat to go over.
The
What's
only
up, my
reason
ninjas?
I go over white is if I know I'm using my speed paints, because they look better over white.
Yeah, I've never used speed paints. The problem I had when I tried doing white is that I couldn't get the brush strokes to go away.
White is really difficult because you're entirely right. I don't know what it is about white paint, and I've tried tons of different army painter, whatever, and it's like it's so hard to get the miniature to not look chalky.
Yeah.
Look at this guy.
Hey, Hungar.
Let's see if I got 10 fingers tomorrow.
Why?
It's 4th of July, and I got 36 mortars to light off tonight.
Oh, okay.
Firecrackers, Roman candles, screaming memes, whisker do's, whisker don'ts, with or without the twizzle sticks.
Whisker do's and whisker don'ts.
That's right. Kitty chasers.
Night Lords are cool as hell, though, because they're basically a whole chapter based on Batman. Nighthawker is just Batman.
I like the Dark Templars, or the Black Templars, because I have a lot in common with them. They do what they want.
They do what they want. Yeah. I love if you haven't seen it, and I know everybody in my audience has, but the Hell's Reach animated movie on YouTube.
That's great. And I have the audiobook on my Audible, and I listen to it.
Yeah, it starts out with what's his name? The chapter Reclusiarch Grammatic. Yeah. And he's standing on the world looking around, and he's like, I will die here. And that's how the book starts. Is this guy is just saying, I will die here.
I will die on this planet. And it's funny because
it's crazy from there, you know?
He's the only one out of his boys that live.
I know. I also like the one guy, the youngest guy, that always talked the most shit, but they let him get away with it because he really was as good as he was like a sword fighter. So he carried his power sword, right? And he talked all this shit about how great he was as a duelist. And they all let him get away with it because he really was that great as a duelist. So they're just like, I mean,
he was a sword master for the Black Templars.
He was a Black Templar sword master. And then you had the old sergeant, and he's like, he's the best of us. He's also the worst of us. It's like he's a great sergeant, but he'll never be anything more because anyway, if you've seen it, and you know. The Templars in that are awesome. Plus, it showcases an Imperial army I have, which is my Armageddon Still Legion guys. And it goes into, like some Armageddon Still Legion guys do not wear the full faceplate and helmet and face masks. Those are the guys that are basically the Panzer Grenadiers. And
it also has the only human that Space Marines truly respect.
Oh, yeah. Yark.
Yep. Old Red Eye.
Old Red Eye. The only human that not only Space Marines respect, but the orcs respect too. The freaking orcs love that guy. He is... Old Red Eye is practically a god amongst the orcs.
Yeah, they let... certain Space Marines were in control of certain, hive cities, but Yar, yeah, you know his name, was in charge of the entire army, world,
and in Armageddon.
Yeah,
the hive city, Hades Hive or whatever. Yeah, after the Chaos Primarch of Khorne, what's his name? The one that has the freaking pain spikes driven into his brain.
Angron?
Kills Yarick,
Yeah.
and it pisses Gaskell off so bad that Gaskell declares a great wog to kill Angron.
Yeah.
And
Because
there's a comic somebody made that shows Angron and Gaskell facing off, and Angron's like, "You're willing to die for this mortal?" And Gaskell's like, "One of us is." So it's like,
because Gaskell's like, if anybody gets to kill Yarick, it's me.
well, the thing is, because part of the lore is orcs judge themselves by their enemies.
And Yarick was the best enemy.
And Yarick was the best enemy.
So Gaskell was the strongest because that was
Gaskell was the best orc because he had the best enemy.
and now he's going up against Angron, who is also a super strong enemy.
Yeah,
because,
but he's doing it out of revenge for.
Yeah, he's doing it for spite.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, you killed my arch nemesis, so now I got to kill you.
Congratulations, you get to take his place.
So we'll see how that works out. Personally, I would put my money on Gaskell because Gaskell is a freaking truck. You know what I mean?
And Angron gets too berserk to do anything smart.
Yeah, and the thing about Gaskell is, even though he's an orc, he's very smart. Like, he has outsmarted the defenders in numerous battles so many times. And people are like, but orcs aren't supposed to have tactical abilities. It's like, sorry, but the prophet of the Wog, he will outsmart your ass.
Haven't they ever heard of the story?
You in an ambush before you even know what's going on. You cannot underestimate.
Hey, happy 4th, buddy.
Yeah, happy 4th, quickly. Good to see you. I got your message. I thought that was very kind of you because it meant that even though I had wondered where you've been, I assumed you were probably working or something. And but by sending me that message, it allowed me not to be a maniac and be like, did I piss him off?
Yeah, you guys got to remember something or know something about Old Man James here. Old Man James is a sensitive man. He is a very sensitive man. And if he thinks that if somebody doesn't show up to a show for a while and he's like, where'd they go? Did I get mad up? Then he'll start feeling sad because he's a sensitive man. He my boy has feelings. Me, on the other hand, I'm like, whatever.
Well, what it is I have feelings, but all of my feelings lead to me blaming myself for everything.
That's why feelings are gay.
And lame.
And retarded.
Both.
Now, the Warhammer book you were just talking about, because I read one and that sounded familiar. Is that the one where the guy, he's the chaplain and he's training a chaplain?
No, he's the Reclusiarch. He just became the Reclusiarch for the Black Templars because the guy who was
chaplains, Reclusiarchs.
Well, he's the head chaplain.
Right.
He's the chaplain.
And he's got the guy with him who's like a candidate.
No.
Well, it depends. Are they on the world of Armageddon, like fighting orcs?
I can't. They were fighting orcs. I can't remember a lot of the details about it. I remember, like at the end, the guy, his apprentice, like crushes somebody's head and laughs. He's like, "He'll get the skull mask. His hate is pure."
Nope, that is not it at all.
Oh, I'm thinking
That's
something
not
else.
The one, but it sounds good.
It does sound good.
Happy 4th. I hope you woke up this morning and told your grandpa you loved him.
Hey, Daryl.
All of his service that he did in Korea. James, don't be sad. I just can't add to the subject. Yeah, it's like I have a tendency to not blame other people for anything, but I always kind of blame myself for everything.
Well, you're usually to blame.
I'm looking at him with that really look. Like, really? Because I know somebody that he blames for things.
Well, I still to this day blame you for blowing up my Chevy.
It
And
happens
I regret
sometimes.
the fact
Chevys
that I
just
didn't know
explode.
back then that for like $450, I could have bought a brand new in the crate 350 big block,
Yeah.
which I would have immediately stuck in that beast, and the yellow beast would have rode again.
Well, it's not completely my fault because the old man didn't tell me that
No,
I had to put fluid in it every 5 miles.
because he effed it up. Because when it was just me driving it, I drove it to all over North Orlando and back. I drove it everywhere. And I would just, do your random like you do with a car, check your fluids and whatever, and never had a problem. But you know how I drive though, kind of like a grandma. So even though that thing probably had 450 horsepower, I wasn't out there dogging it out or anything. I was, because we took this Chevy truck and we amped the shit out of it. It had roll bars and a fucking like a cow killer grill on the front. And I mean, this thing, it wasn't jacked up high because I don't like the high jacked up trucks. It was a normal truck, but it was full size square body Chevy. And man, if I
Yeah,
could have any car from my past back right now, I would take it even with the engine C's because I probably got enough money in savings. I could get a 350 or, throw a 350 big block in that bitch, hire some people to put it in for me.
hey Jose, if I could
Okay.
take any car that I from my past right now, it would either be the Camaro that we had or the Oldsmobile 442.
Quick Lee says it is a bit weird how we're celebrating that Will Smith film. Lee, you have to remember there was a time that Will Smith was beloved by all, hated by none, and could do no wrong.
And then his husband, that ball-headed Jada Pinkett Smith, had to run it off for him.
And then he decided to run it all by smacking Chris Rock, who is also one of the most beloved. Was it Chris Rock?
Yeah, Chris Rock.
Yeah, I mean, you don't smack Chris Rock. Chris Rock's a little dude. Like you gonna run up on some 5'4" dude and smack him for cracking jokes? I mean, his entire job is cracking jokes.
All to maintain his beard.
Right. It's like, yeah, really, you're not wrong. So it's like, and let's be honest, I forget the name of the guy who played the president in that movie, but the speech he gives before they go out to fight the aliens is pretty freaking inspirational.
Yeah, that was the guy from Serpent and the Rainbow, right?
Yeah, he's been in a ton of shit, but I can never remember who he is.
The guy from Reservoir Dogs, the one who was dancing with the razor blade,
Yeah.
he died yesterday.
Oh, Michael Madsen, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was, what is he also the guy that was the voice of Kronk?
I don't know, but he was the bad guy in Kill Bill. He was Bill.
He was the brother. Well, he was the brother. He was Bill's brother.
The brother. Bill was David Carradine.
The Carradine, David Carradine.
Yeah.
And then she did that punch on his chest that the old monk had taught her that I guess makes you not alive anymore.
Yeah. The five-finger death punch.
Yeah.
James Woods was a big fan of his.
Or like in AD&D, she did that monk ability. You get like level 9, the quivering palm. Yeah, you touch them and then like you can pick a time within a week. Yeah, he was in Spaceballs. He was the main guy in Spaceballs.
Yeah, yeah.
He had John Candy there helping him out, though.
I'm a bog, half man, half dog. I'm my own best friend.
I mean, how can you not love that?
I didn't like Spaceballs that much, actually.
Really?
I don't know. I thought it was just too silly.
That is the entire point.
I know,
you know what
but
I mean?
it wasn't like the quality of like Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles. It didn't touch those movies. And Men in Tights, I thought was downright bad. The
Oh,
Robin Hood one.
I mean, come on. At least you got to say that History of the World was pretty good.
Oh, History of the World was a great movie. Great movie.
Where'd
And of
you-
course, Blazing Saddles. And my personal Mel Brooks favorite, The Producers, the original. With
Yeah, I don't
Tom
like the musical
Marcel
one.
and
Springtime for Hitler.
yeah, the guy who played Willy Wonka in the original movie.
Yeah,
then
Zero
again,
Mostel and Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder. Oh my goodness, Leo.
Now, after they
And
changed
they had
the,
that Swedish girl with the giant tits, and it was like Ballistak and Stern. Ballistak and Stern.
after they changed the name to the Producers, because the other name I said was the original.
Was that Mickey Dolenz who played LSD in the original?
I think,
Don't know. You'd have to look that up.
but after they did the premiere of the movie for a small audience, everybody's like, "This is the greatest movie ever. Why did you change the name?"
Yeah. Because they had the comedian, and he came in and he took all of the lines that the actual Nazi had wrote and made jokes out of them.
Yeah.
And the whole time the Nazis in the audience been like, he was not like that. He's like,
I loved he had the tuxedo and the Stahl helm.
yeah, he's like freaking losing his mind. And then at the end, all three of them are in prison doing the same shit again, trying to pull that same scam, you know? But I mean, how can you not love the song Springtime for Hitler is like,
It's a great song.
that is springtime for Hitler and Germany, winter for Poland and France. It's like, what? Suck it to me, baby. Suck it to me. And we like the one guy, I guess he's playing Himmler or something. And the guy who's pretending to be Hitler, I love myself some Little Joe. What's going on, Joe? Yeah,
Little Joe, where's Little Joe?
yeah, and they're all like all the Nazi high command are acting like beatniks. They're like, hey, baby. It's like, oh my goodness. Such a good movie. That's my favorite. Even though young Dr. Frankenstein, that's got to be on the list too.
Oh, Young Frankenstein was amazing.
You must be Igor. No, Igor.
Igor. Yeah. Every time they say the name of the one woman, Frau Bluka, you hear
the horses.
Like, he was my boyfriend.
Hey, boys, look what I got. Where are the white women at?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Sing us one of those work songs. I get no kick from champagne.
Alcohol doesn't
thrill me at all.
They're like, no. And then the next thing you know, the white guys are all singing Camptown Races. And the black people are all just sitting there watching them. Oh, man. Bill Pullman. Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go. He's got a name very similar to one of my actual favorite actors, which would be Bill Paxton.
Game over, man. Game over.
Game over, man. But the role I love Bill Paxton in is Near Dawn. Oh my God.
You know, he was killed by the Terminator.
He was. He
was one of the
guy the Terminator puts his fist through.
Yeah.
That was like such a little bit part. Your clothes, give them to me. And he stabs him. And the Terminator's just like, all right. Let me put my robotically, T-800 fist right through you and just shake you off. It's like, so everybody in chat, other than Independence Day, celebrating America and all that, and wishing veterans, no matter what country they served in, peace and love. What are we talking about today? I mean, I'm painting Gamma World figures. which means I'm just painting weird figures that could actually be used in any game. Because one thing I realized after I started painting Gamma World figures is they could be used to represent aliens in a Traveler game or a Star Frontier game. Most of them could be used to just represent weird ass shit in a D&D game that no one, so it's like, sure, they're supposed to be Gamma World figures, but they could be.
I gotta go to the store here in a few minutes and get things for dinner.
My wife had made us smash burgers, and they are in the fridge until later when she'll take them out and let them get room temperature and cook them.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
How you doing? Happy 4th, brother.
I'm going to do smash burgers, and the store I like to go to, they have natural casing hot dogs. So
nice.
Some chili cheese dogs and smash burgers.
I bought X-Wing 2.0 core sets and a YT 2400. Okay, the YT 2400, isn't that the new version of the Millennium Falcon, like the one Dash Rendor had? I don't remember offhand. I'm not a Star Trek guy. I'm thinking about selling all of my Star Trek stuff, but it's all first edition.
Doc was on Bear's birthday stream last night. I saw him there.
It was Bear's birthday yesterday?
Yeah, 55.
Damn.
And he can't drive.
Well, he can't drive 55. I'm sorry I missed that, but I was in bed crashing out by 7:30.
So I was up until 5:30 this morning. Couldn't sleep last night.
I've been doing this weird thing, Dash Rendar ship. So I got it right. I'm going to just blame I guessed, because honestly, in my brain, I wasn't 100% sure. Oh,
trust me, bro. I wanted to sleep last night, and I didn't take a nap yesterday. So it was like I'm still like exhausted. I slept from like 5:30 till 9.
Dude, I've been getting up at like 4 in the morning.
That sounds like a personal problem.
And then instead of like laying in bed, I actually get up, drink some coffee from the night before, fucking wander around the house.
Stale coffee.
Do shit. Like, me and him both like cold coffee. We drink iced coffee. So
I'll drink iced coffee, but coffee that's been out for a day. Ooh.
Oh, I drink it black with ice.
Yeah, because
I like my coffee like I like my women, cold and bitter.
I like my coffee like I like my women, without another dude's dick in it.
Or I like my coffee like I like my women, without a dick. Yeah, Dash Rendar was a cool character. I remember I think it was the N64 or whatever, when you could play Dash Rendar in a there's a video game and you got to play Dash Rendar running around doing a bunch of shit.
Well, guys, I'm gonna bounce out.
But Jose, if you get somebody to play it with you, or even if you play it against yourself, you're going to find that you actually love that game. I loved that game. However, the person I used to play against all the time just kind of vanished. And then second edition came out, and I was all like, I'm not buying all new data cards and everything for ships I already own. And I own a shit ton of ships. And of course, my favorite pilot is the named TIE Interceptor pilot. I think his name is like Baron Van Sar, some shit like that. And he has a special TIE Interceptor that's black, but it has a red racing stripe down each side.
Sweet. All right, bro. I'm bouncing out the stream, but I will be in chat.
Okay.
Listening to you while I'm at the grocery store.
All right. You hear that?
Later, Hungar.
We've been having thunder around here for days. So if I vanish out of the blue and everybody's like, damn, it's just we have been having severe weather. Dash Rendar was a character, Shadows of the Empire, the only movie that had no movie. just a book, soundtrack, and video game. I remember the video game because there's part of it where you're actually on Hoth and you're cruising around in Dash Rendar's ship, and it's weird because of how the Dash Rendar, the cockpit of the ship is independent of the body. So when you do weird maneuvers, it's like the cockpit will stay where it is and the ship moves kind of like the B-wing.
All right, everybody. Happy 4th. Peace, love, chicken grease. Catch you all on flip side. Love you.
You'll never guess what I saw at Publix last night for like $14 for a little jar.
What's that?
Bacon fat.
Oh yeah, at Walmart they were selling a 5-gallon bucket of bacon fat for frying turkeys. It was $55.
And I'm sitting here thinking, it's cheaper just to use an old jam jar.
Yeah.
Wash it out nice and good, and every time you cook bacon or something, just strain it out into the jar, right?
Yeah, I have a wide mouth mason jar that I put all my bacon fat in after I cook bacon, and I eat a lot of bacon.
They were also selling beef tallow. I don't even want to tell you how much they were charging for that.
Too much.
But apparently that's the new thing. People are like, stop cooking in any oil that isn't made directly out of animal fat.
Or olive oil. Olive oil and avocado. Yeah. No seed oils. No seed oils.
No seed oils at all.
Is that the new deadly thing? Seed oils?
Well, apparently scientists have done a bunch of research and determined that like a lot of these seed oils turn into a toxin as you're digesting them.
Oh, neat.
And can cause all kinds of issues because humans were never built to deal with them.
A lot of restaurants are actually going back to beef tallow for their fries and stuff.
Exactly.
Steak and shake, one of them.
Our entire, this is off topic a little bit, but our entire food pyramid, catch you hunger, is a lie.
Oh, yeah, that was bought and paid for.
Yeah. So now people are starting to realize that shit was a lie. And as long as you get a little exercise and you don't eat twice as much as you should, cooking stuff in lard is perfectly fine.
Yeah, fat isn't nearly as bad for you as they like to claim. It was sugar that was the deadly thing, and they're the ones who pushed that.
And sugar still is the deadly thing. Hey, Diversity and Dragons.
A lot of doctors are saying now that they think basically dementia is just another form of diabetes.
Right. Yeah, I saw Diversity and Dragons at his video where he is, I guess, in Columbus or something. Really cool. But unfortunately, or fortunately, Double D, I have turned into like the penultimate old man. So I'm like going to bed at like 6:30, waking up at like 4 a.m., sitting around drinking my coffee, waiting to yell at kids for being in my yard. My sleep schedule does that. But at least this sleep schedule, my wife is a lot happier with because, I'm up during part of the day. Because the other sleep schedule I was well renowned for was the completely vampire sleep schedule. Where, I'd be waking up about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night and going to bed as the sun was coming up. Arnold said white sugar and flour was white death in the 70s. Well, he was not wrong. He was not wrong. Wonder Bread is nothing but puffed sugar.
Yeah,
sliced
basically
up so that you're still a night owl. Yeah, I was a night owl, and then now I've turned into a like I said, an old man. My grandpa was the same way. Growing up, my grandpa was that guy that was up at like 4:30, drinking his coffee, staring at a wall or some shit. And then he'd go out and do whatever he did all day, and then he would be in bed by 8:30, man. Like he would watch the evening news or some shit, and then he'd be knocked out. It's like, and I'm a throwback. I don't look like either of my parents, but I look very similar to my grandfather, except I'm short. And I'm not actually short. I'm like 6'6'1", depending on who measures me. But the grandfather I looked the most like was 6'5". So, but he married a 4'11" woman. So the generation before my generation, they were all like 5'6". And then I was born and become 6'1". So all of my uncles, every time they see me, they're like, "Oh my God, look at this guy." And it's like, it's weird how that shit skips generations, But we've seen it with my dog. He's a 15-pound Pomeranian. He is 100% genetically checked a Pomeranian, but he's a throwback because it happens. But anyway, yeah, I was just saying peace to all of the soldiers out there that have served, and happy birthday, America, even though my family was in this country before America existed. But we don't hold that against you guys that came later, and to all those idiots that keep saying, "Are you happy? Is this what you voted for?" Yes.
Yes, very much so.
Please, and more, if you will.
Please, sir, can I have some more?
Got to be a bit of dwarf in my bloodline. Oh, the beard. What's funny, Lee, is I could not grow facial hair until I was 30.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, like I could maybe get the wispy hairs here, but the gap in between. So I had like that Joe Dirt.
Oh yeah, this took me a while to get
trailer
the middle part because I was growing pretty heavy hair even in like my last year of high school, but this bit right here until I was like at least mid-20s wouldn't come in at all.
And the other thing, not that I'm going to show you every part of me, but look at my arms. You'll notice I have no hair. I am pretty much hairless except on my head and on the region of the other head. Otherwise, my body is as smooth as a baby. The whole time I was in the Army, I had to shave like every other day. You know what I mean? And then one day I hit like 30 and it was just like, boom. Meanwhile, Hungar, he had a full beard in like, I don't know, 9th grade. You've seen the fro. I mean, Hungar was, but my mom said Hungar was like born with hair. And I was born bald. And when my hair came in, it was blonde. And I was golden blonde until I was like 5 years old. And then after that, it just got darker and darker until it turned black. But Hungar had dark brown hair from the time he came out of the womb, but his beard would be freaking blood red and like kinky, like black people hair. You know what I mean? He like his beard was, the hair was thick and like Brillo pad shit. But yeah. Grandfather was 6'5", grandmother 5'0". Yep, same thing here. I don't think he was Irish, but whatever he was, him and all of his brothers were at least 6'5", and he had like 5 brothers. And he marries a 4'11" woman when he was 16 and she was 17. And they stayed together until they died. School. So, still can at 40. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Maybe it was the shaving in the Army that, because they say if you shave a lot, it makes your beard grow. Hungar, yeah, he may have been. He was born with a hairy back. I hope he doesn't hate me for saying that. But he was born with a head full of curly black hair, and his back was hairy, like from the shoulders down to his butt crack. But all that hair fell off. But the hair didn't, I mean. So Hungar was a throwback too, back to when we were monkeys, maybe. Neanderthals or something. And Hungar and I were so dark growing up, especially because we're always outside. So I actually used to could tan. That everyone swore up and down that we were at least a quarter Cherokee Indian. because we couldn't grow facial hair, or I couldn't, he could, but I had the long board straight black hair. Everybody swore, and the dark eyes. So everybody's like, oh yeah, you're definitely Cherokee, right? Whereas personally, I thought we had black in us, but African. But then actually we did the DNA and it's like we're 100% Northern European. Yeah, Hungar the Hairy would have been what they would have called him if he was a king. or a noble in England. You know how they like to add those little surnames? He would have been Count Hungar the Hairy. Yeah, like, and I would have been like James I don't know, lives in the woods and doesn't like anybody coming near him, because that was me as a kid. I was just out in the woods all the time. Army bunkmate would have, yeah, I had a friend that lived up in somewhere up in the New England area, and that dude had to run to his room after lunch to shave again. And it was so crazy because his chest hair had merged with his beard. So this part of his neck was hairy all the way up, and his hairline for his beard came up to here.
Sasquatch.
Yeah, he was from somewhere up in New England, like Connecticut or Maine or somewhere like that, and he had to shave twice a day. You are a descendant of the Luna Popa family. I am not a descendant of anyone famous except for maybe Major Thomas McKee, who was a cavalry major in the Confederate Army, 6th Kentucky, during the Civil War. I've looked him up, but otherwise, yeah, my people landed in Virginia, in Williamsburg, when it was actually a British colony, and immediately beat feet into Appalachia, where they just kind of hung out and didn't do anything but reproduce and I guess kill deers and hogs and be hillbillies.
My great grandfather, I believe, got drafted off the boat in New York.
Was he Irish?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was in the army before he actually set foot on the country.
Is Hungar always blurry on the family photos by each other? Yeah. Like, is he a skin dancer or something? What's going on with Hungar, right? And then what's crazy, I mean, rest her soul, my sister, who died of a weird cancer when she was like 27, she was blonde. So you had Hungar, who had black hair and would throw out. You had me, who had black hair and it was bored straight like an Asian. And you had my sister, whose hair was like platinum blonde. And me personally, I blame Agent Orange. She got some kind of liver cancer that the doctor said was like 1 in a million. He'd never seen it. They did everything they could for her, but they couldn't save her, unfortunately. And I can talk about it now pretty good because I mean it's been 30 years, but it was sad. I loved my sister. She and her we got along really well, and she always had my back in a bar fight and vice versa. As a matter of fact, my little sister would be the first one to throw a blow, and then I'd have to jump in because like she was violent. I don't know like what happened to her as a youth, but like she was violent as a youth. Like when she was a little kid, she was a biter. As soon as she got teeth, she was biting everyone. Like when they took her to the dentist, my mom had to take her to dentists where they knocked the patient out because she was so bad about fist fighting the dentist and shit. So, I mean, she just was born full of rage. But I know the blonde hair, it has to come from the fact that we're so much Norwegian, Swedish, Danish, and Germanic. I mean, that is 60% of me is Scandinavian plus the Germanic. I got some Scots-Irish, some Irish, and I've got some Western Slav, which is probably Pole. But it could be Latvian, Lithuanian, whatever. Because in ancient times, they also were Slavs. My maternal grandmother descended from some fishermen that saved Robert the Bruce That's awesome. Robert the Bruce fought his heart out to get Scotland independent, and like a generation later, they married
just
into the
sold him
English
out.
throne. And it's like, all right, whatever. Western Europe, of course. That's what's so weird about Hispanics, right? Is they're like, we're indigenous people. And it's like, you're part European. I mean, at least some of you, 50%. I mean, the little red Mexicans you see standing out front of Home Depot, yeah, those guys can say they're native Indians, right? Because they probably are descendant of Aztecs or one of those tribes, right? But the tall, pale-skinned Spaniards and shit like that, no, get out of here. The person who rules Mexico right now, and her last name is Sheinbaum. She's going to tell me she's indigenous and her last name is Sheinbaum. It's like, get out of here.
It's weird. I work with a lot of Latinos where I work at the factory, and the ones that are from here are like normal height, but all the ones that like came here from down there are like tiny. Like
yeah, they're like 5 feet.
I guess it's because of like the diet.
Like I just think those Indians were little. But Double D, yeah, my biological dad did a couple tours in Nam before they had to send him home because he got his third dummy badge, as we call it in the Army. But in reality, it's a Purple Heart. We should salute that shit. But when he got his third Purple Heart, they had to send him home, right? And they pulled tumors out of that dude every other year until he died. He was just constantly fighting off some weird ass shit, right? And then Hungar and my sister, Shelly is her nickname, they were born after he came back from Vietnam. I was born before he went. Therefore, other than the fact that I fell 30 feet and broke my neck and shattered a bunch of shit, I've been healthy as a mule my whole life. But my younger brother and sister have constantly been fighting weird ass illnesses.
Yeah, they still to this day deny there's any connection.
I think it has to be the Agent Orange. I can't prove it. I just really think that's, I mean, you know what they say, Occam's razor, right?
Yeah.
The most
and the same thing with
right?
A lot of the guys who are in the Gulf, they were exposed to something, they're denying it because it's way too high of a coincidence.
I knew a guy who served in the Gulf in another unit, not my unit. And I know for a fact we got exposed to sarin gas at least twice. But this dude came home from the Gulf, and within a month, every single one of his teeth fell out. And it was like, it wasn't like a normal, this guy's not doing proper dental hygiene, taking care of himself. Yeah. It was like he was normal, and then all of a sudden, all of his teeth got really loose and just fell out. It's like, you know, it's like you just sit there and you look at it and you're just like, how? Why? But I mean, hey, you know, not to mention when you shoot a enemy tank with depleted uranium, the depleted uranium vaporizes into a fine dust as it goes through the enemy tank and just completely wrecks everything on the inside. And then that depleted uranium stays in that region in the dirt.
Yeah. Plus, it's only mostly depleted. If it was fully depleted, it would be lead.
Right. Still a little radioactive, a little bit, you know, enough that you can be around it forever and it won't hurt you supposedly. But when it gets vaporized, now you're breathing it. Yeah. And anything you inhale into your lungs is going to F you up.
Yeah, my mother wound up getting mesothelioma just from cleaning my stepfather's like work uniforms.
Yeah.
It only takes one particle lodging itself in the wrong place.
Well, like I told you, we had the lawsuit. The union had the lawsuit against our city because they would store all of our racks to store our turnout gear, which is, you know, the yellow gear you put on to go into a fire, were lined up on the bay where the trucks were parked. So every time an engine or that big international rescue was fired up, it was spraying diesel exhaust right onto your turnout gear. And the turnout gear, a lot of times you leave it open so it airs out, right?
Yeah.
So the interior is just getting full of all kinds of shit. And then you get a fire call and you run and throw that on and you're sweating like a mule because on the inside of your turnout gear, it'll get 120 degrees.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so rough that they have to give firefighters breaks. Otherwise, you can get brain damage
Yeah.
from the heat cooking your brain. So, yeah, man. Now we won that lawsuit. And now all of our gear is stored in a separate room that's got positive pressure. So nothing from the outside can actually go on the inside of that room. And all of our gear, we have a big washing machine, industrial machine to wash the gear. And you wash your gear after every fire on your day off.
Yeah.
Like before you leave in the morning, you throw it in and whatever. So they're actually taking safety seriously because I know 3 guys in my department, they retired and within 5 years died of cancer. And people are like, what? And weird cancer too, like brain cancers and shit. This is like, gotta run. Well, Diversity, you have a wonderful day today. And I'm sorry I've been going to sleep so early and having to watch your shows, later. But thank you for dropping in. It's always a pleasure to talk to one of my internet heroes.
Later, D&D.
So, and tell Crazy Mouse and Rogan I said hello. I'll be like that damn neutral. If you see my wife, tell her I said
Hello.
It's like Zach Brannigan just couldn't tolerate the neutrals. He's like, I don't trust these neutrals. Right? Freaking tell my wife I said hello. Oh, I got big news to share. Not that you guys care about it too much, but I'm going to share it because I'm super happy.
You go for it.
Well, the nephew of mine that had decided he wanted to be a Mormon is no longer a Mormon. And he's met a very, very nice young Roman Catholic girl. And they're getting married.
Oh, cool.
So I'm pretty stoked because I have 2 reasons to be stoked. And they're not the best of reasons, but they're my reasons. The first reason is not to offend anyone, but I really do consider Mormonism to be a cult. So I'm not a fan of it. And I've lived amongst Mormons. I have an uncle that converted Mormonism. But the second one is being able to convince him and his wife to convert from Roman Catholicism to Orthodox Catholicism is a very small leap. And my end goal of my entire life is to try to convert everyone in my family to become Orthodox Christian.
Okay, you know what? You're the person to ask this. What exactly distinguishes a particular Christian denomination as Catholic?
Catholic is just an ancient word that means united. And right now, there's basically 2 types of Catholics. Western Catholics, which owe fealty to Rome, and Eastern Catholics, which owe fealty to no one but Jesus. However, they do have priests, bishops, etc.
So it's organizational.
It's organizational.
Okay.
And the fact that Western Catholicism has introduced innovations into the religion, like new rules and shit. Eastern Orthodoxy has introduced no innovations. So it never changed over the 2,000 years. But at the end of the day, they're very, very similar. Like if you're a Roman Catholic, you could walk into an Orthodox church and be just fine. Just fine.
You want to see something funny?
Show it.
So you're going to have to come a little bit closer. They were fishing at Jax's house. That's not a fish.
That's an alligator.
Baby gator, yeah.
Well, I hope they threw it back in because they get caught. Some people we know were fishing out in the retention pond near their house and caught a baby alligator. It's like 1.5 feet long, 2 feet long, you know. But it's like I tell everybody, if you visit Florida and you see a body of water, assume there's alligators in it.
Or something equally nasty.
Or something equally nasty. I mean, you know, and it only gets worse the further south you go.
Oh, yeah. We don't really see a lot of gators this far north. We just had a neighbor had a rattlesnake in her yard just the other
Well,
day.
yeah, we've got, of course, it's Florida, so we've got
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 different breeds of rattlesnake.
Water moccasins, all kinds of fun shit.
Water
Copperheads.
moccasins, yeah, they're aggressive. They will actually chase you for a while, but like because you've got your eastern diamondback, and I've seen those around 7 or 8 feet long, no lie, and is like this big around. They're pretty good eating. They get really big, but the worst ones are pygmy rattlers. They get about that long, and their venom will kill you dead. Actually, all the rattlesnakes have this weird like toxin that what it does is it necrotizes the flesh that it comes into contact with. So when you go to the doctor, they give you the antitoxin and then they have to cut all the meat out because it's rotted. So, and yeah, we got a couple like 3, 4 breeds of rattlesnake. Coral snakes are no problem. If you're wearing a normal pair of boots, you can just stomp on them and they'll die because coral snakes don't have fangs. The only way to get bit by a coral snake is to pick it up and let it chew on you. And then you deserve it. That's a Darwin Award, no doubt. You deserve that shit. But the problem is there's another kind of snake down here that's a really good snake and you want them around your house, but they kind of look like a coral snake. So idiots end up killing these snakes thinking they're coral snakes when in fact they're not.
And if you ever see a little blue octopus in the water, do not fuck
Yeah,
with
don't run up on the little octopus either, because that dude will kill you dead. Are there Dianoga in Florida, the monsters of Death Star trash? There could be. Jose, if anything weird exists in the world, if it's not in Australia, it's in Florida. Florida is basically the North American Australia.
Yeah.
We were talking about that in a live stream. Yeah, the king snake. We were talking about that the other day. They were listing like reasons not to escape from alligator Alcatraz. And like alligators, in my opinion, were pretty low on the list.
Yeah, that's the least of your worries down there.
Yeah, it's the 20-foot green pythons and the 20+ foot reticulated pythons.
And the crocodiles. And
the American crocodile, which is innately aggressive as shit. And then the not American crocodile that some idiot imported into the area.
And the herpes monkeys.
And then herpes monkeys that will, if they bite you, you will just die. There's no surviving the bite of a herpes monkey. And then rattlesnakes,
Tarzan,
water moccasins, malaria from mosquitoes. If you drink the water, you're probably going to get Legionnaire's disease or Giardia or something. I mean, there's a million ways to die in the Everglades.
Do you know who gets Legionnaire's disease a lot in this country? The most common way to get it? Working in a car wash.
Really?
From breathing the vaporized water.
Huh. Makes sense. But yeah, it's a king snake. I totally forgot the name of them. And there's a way to, it's like yellow before black is bad for Jack, black after yellow. No, it's black after yellow will kill a fellow.
Red after black is friend of Jack
or something. Yeah. Me, I just don't kill them at all because I don't have any small children. I don't have any stupid animals that are going to run up and let a snake bite them because my dog's skittish as hell. Like if he's running through the leaves and a frog moves, he like jumps 8 feet and runs. So he's pretty safe. Best thing about UK, After Yorkshire puddings is friendly wildlife. Yeah. You guys pretty much got rid of anything that was a threat. Hundreds
Isn't
of
the
years
Yorkshire
ago.
pudding in the Monster Manual?
That would be funny, like next to black pudding, the feared Yorkshire pudding, the pudding of Yorkshire. Yorkshire pudding, isn't that the bread that they like cook with like bacon grease and stuff, and it like puffs up?
All I know is if you hear the word pudding in Britain, stay the hell away from it. It's probably
I
blood
think
and
Yorkshire
guts.
pudding is that really kind of crispy, good bread.
Okay.
And
Most of the pudding things I encountered over there were blood based, and it was kind of gross.
yeah, they sent all their mean animals to Australia with all the criminals. That makes sense, actually. That is probably a good move. The problem with Florida is who is going to go into Everglade to round these bastards up or send them anywhere? I mean, because as soon as you step into that brackish water, you have left your land. Oh, we forgot. We forgot one of the creatures they mentioned. Everyone's favorite creature, the bull shark.
Oh, yes.
Apparently, there's a shit ton of them living in the Everglades.
Yeah, they can breathe fresh water.
Yeah, because fresh water ain't a deal with them. They just click something in their freaking kidneys and they're like, I'm good to go. So
The biggest assholes in the shark community. It's the bull shark.
But a Wikipedia, right. So, yeah, so that to me, you're swimming like in brackish water from one cypress stand to the next and you get hit by 11 or 12-foot bull shark. Yeah, you're done. Forget about it. I mean, that is the plan, and it has room for like, I don't know, 50,000, like a huge number. And
yeah, it was an airport.
Yeah, and they will be ran through and figured out who deserves what. And if you're a decent guy and you don't deserve anything bad, then you, I guess, just go back to your country. And if you're a bad guy, then you go to El Salvador or something. I mean, it's a holding area, really. So yeah, it's that crispy bread. I love that. Yorkshire pudding, yeah, because they put the yeasty bread in the things, and then it's got to be like smoking hot. They dump like oil on it, and it causes it to puff up, and it's like super like crispy and awesome. But when you break it open, it's like a really good, puffy bread with all the holes in it, But I like blood pudding, so whatever, guys. I grew up eating pork blood pudding. Before I was Jewish and read Leviticus where it said never consume the blood of an animal. But when I was a kid, every time my grandma would butcher a pig, they would always save the blood and they would grill it on a flat top and make like pig blood pancakes. And we'd eat them because, when you're poor, you get the protein where you can get it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But yeah, British people are weird. You call potato chips crisps. You call French fries crisps or whatever it is. You call biscuits scones. You call something cookies when they're not cookies. It's like you invented the language, but none of you speak it.
Oh, it was funny when I was traveling over there with my brother and sister because we were taking our mother's ashes over to Ireland. We called this place to get a room, and they're like, how many beds in there? Oh, there's 2 beds. Oh, can we get a cot as well? Not realizing that was a crib over there. So we got there, there's this little baby crib, and I'm like, what the fuck?
You've always wanted to look. You're British and you have the perfect excuse to not know that there are many kinds of cornbread. And there are regions in America that take their cornbread incredibly serious. Like up north, you can get Johnny cakes, which are sometimes served sweet. And they're like pancakes, but made out of cornmeal. And then in Appalachia, you get rough cornbread, which is not sweet. And it's made out of barely ground corn kernels. I mean, this stuff is like gritty as hell, but you eat it with your soup beans and shit. And then you've got this almost yellow cake type cornbread that you find in Georgia and Alabama, places like that. I mean, I don't even consider it cornbread. I call it corn cake. I don't know what kind. And then some people make corn muffins instead of, like my mom and grandma, they would take a big, like 10 or 12 inch cast iron skillet, get it freaking screaming hot, pour the cornmeal into it, and then put it in the oven.
Yeah. It's something you have to have fresh too. Cornbread does not keep at all.
Yeah, cornbread don't keep real great. But the great news is, Lee, I'm pretty sure you could probably order some Jiffy Delight or some shit like that off of Amazon and make it yourself. Because one thing about cornbread is it's not hard to make. Yeah. I mean, I can't argue with you, Lee. I can't argue with you. I mean, yeah, potato chips are very crispy. So just calling them crisps in a way does make sense. But you have to remember, I'm an American. Therefore, everything I do and say is correct. And the whole rest of the world is wrong. So there you go. That's your... That's how my grandmama did it too. It was a big ass cast iron skillet. And if you washed that damn thing, she would want to kill you because it never got washed. It just got wiped out and then re-greased with some lard. Because, you know, those cast iron skillets, once you get a good cure on them, that layer of carbon, you can cook anything in that thing and it will never. Are they cornographic? Corn cooking books? Yep. You cook them till they're golden brown, and because you poured the batter in while that skillet was piping hot, the bottom of it comes out brown and crispy as hell, and it's very dense. So you cut like a wedge out of it, and you put it in a bowl, and you cover it with freaking soup beans, which is pinto beans, and maybe some greens, onions, a little vinegar, whatever, and you eat it. I mean, that's just how we do it. But how we do it in Kentucky is not how anyone else in the entire United States does anything. We don't even exist according to demographics of the state. Like we're not the Midwest. We're not North. We're definitely not New England. We're not the Deep South. We're not the West. We're not the Great Plains. Kentucky is not a member of any of the divisions they made the United States unless they add Appalachia. Then we're there. So, you know. Yeah, I've heard that, Shark. The British and Americans are a common people separated by language. It's like, yeah, I've heard that. Or various, yeah. But no, even though it's not your holiday, Lee, I am sending all of my love to all the British soldiers that fought for Britain in all of your different wars.
Except that one.
Even that one, because I will say this. In the War of American Independence, as the British call it, we cheated.
It's a war.
They might have done some bad shit, like, you know, burning some farms down or something, but we just straight up cheated. You know, we were hid behind rocks and specifically targeted officers and shit. I mean, so you know, those are brave young Irishmen that came over to America in their red coats, because at that time, if you were Irish, you basically had a couple of choices. Starvation was one, and joining the British Army was another. So, you know, like half of the British Army was Scots and Irishmen. You know what I mean? Led by some pompous guy that bought his rank. Yeah, for some reason, for the longest time in American cinema, you would notice like old World War II movies, the German officers always had British accents. And it would be weird because it's like, you know, Germany still exists and they probably have actors. So you probably could have hired a guy at least with a German accent if you
Also,
really
Romans have to have British accents,
Yeah, it's
or else it's wrong.
yeah, yeah, and it's like, what, you couldn't find somebody that had like, I don't know, an Italian accent?
No, if you heard an
Maybe
Italian
like
accent,
Latin,
a
but-
Roman character with an Italian accent, that would be wrong.
would be
Why
wrong
doesn't he have a
too,
British accent? What's going on here?
You'd have to find somebody who actually spoke Latin enough that when they spoke English, they had an accent. And I don't think you can do that. Statham as a British vet. Statham's awesome. I love Statham. You know what Statham is? Statham is John Connors Part 2. And by John Connors, I mean Bruce Willis. If you look at them, they're the same. They're middle-aged white dudes going bald. There's nothing special about them. You definitely would not call them handsome. And yet they're the action stars of their time. You never see a pretty guy make it as an action star. Like they try to cast like a really pretty dude to be an action star. It never really works. You need a gritty, kind of busted up looking bastard, and that's your action star. But I pretty much will watch anything with Statham in it. He's up there, not quite up there with Nicolas Cage for me, but he's up there. I'll watch his films. Now, Nicolas Cage, if Nicolas Cage is in it, I'll watch it. And sometimes I'm like, okay, he was cashing a check on this one. And sometimes I'm really pleasantly surprised. And I'm like, holy shit. But I'm never disappointed with Nicolas Cage. It's just the dude will take any movie that anyone offers because he's so far in debt.
Yeah, he's got to keep himself in dinosaur
bones.
bones.
Yeah, so it's like
got to feed that bone habit, baby.
Right? He's in this one movie I watched where he was a college professor and his students started having dreams about him, and the dreams got progressively darker until he was completely ostracized from his community and everything because of dreams people were having about him. He hadn't done anything. It was crazy. And then he was in another movie I loved where his job was to go around and determine whether people were donating more to society than they were taking. And if he determined that you were taking more than you were donating, he said that you would be sent to a colony. But in the end, you find out there is no colony. There's just a giant incinerator. And that was kind of a wild one. He was in the one where like he was doing the math, and every time he come up with a date, something horrible would happen on that particular date.
Oh, yeah, I vaguely remember that one. Numbers or something? Or
He did the one where he got his testicle blown off because he had to go into like the irradiated wasteland and rescue some rich Colonel Sanders looking MFer's daughter. And it was like Escape from the Ghostlands or some shit like that. And of course, my favorite current Nicolas Cage movie of his more modern movies is Willy's Wonderland, in which he says like one line in the whole movie. And that line is, "Take this," as he hands a girl a switchblade. Take this. That's the only line he says in the whole movie. The rest of the movie, it's like Midnight at Freddy's or whatever. He's trapped in a Chuck E. Cheese with a bunch of demonically possessed animatronics. And he's just running around beating the shit out of him. And he never says anything at all. He's just doing his thing. And I mean, I don't know. That guy the character must have suffered some serious trauma. Because you would think if a giant weasel, animatronic weasel, come after you to kill you, you would have emotions. And he don't. He's just like, okay, and just goes to work. You know what I mean? It's like there's something really. All he does all night is clean the place, kill animatronic demons, and drink some kind of power drink, and play pinball.
Wow.
Because the guy that hired him to do the job told him to make sure he took plenty of breaks. And in the kitchen, there was a pinball machine. So he makes sure he takes his 15 minutes every whatever. And he goes in the kitchen and he downs one of these power drinks and fucking plays pinball. And then when his alarm goes off, he goes back outside. And he's so effed up. These kids break in and the monsters are chasing him around to kill him. But his break thing goes off. So he stops helping them and he goes into the kitchen, busts out his can of drink, starts drinking it and playing pinball until his alarm goes back off. And then he goes back out. So it's like, yeah, this guy is doing something.
Okay, I gotta sign off, man.
Nicolas Cage movies anymore because your wife hates him?
No.
How do you hate Nicolas Cage?
Poor Nick Coppola.
Yeah.
Well, I will catch you later, man. I gotta run. Gotta do holidays. I will catch you. I'm glad I finally caught you live. I will catch you later. Oh, on Discord, send me an address. I want to send you a copy of my game.
Okay, I will do so.
Okay, I will talk to you later on, man. And later, everybody in chat.
And happy birthday, America.
Happy
and
4th, everybody.
Freedom! Freedom! Actually, that was great part.
Same idea.
Yeah. Well, you got to keep mama happy, Daryl. I know a lot of people want to act like that ain't true, but the saying, happy wife, happy life, I mean, it's true. And the reality is most women, the majority of them, I'm painting with a big broad brush here, it doesn't take much to keep them happy. Like take the garbage out, help them around the house a little bit, tell them they're pretty, never tell them that their pants make their butt look fat unless they got a big butt and you like it. Then be all like, damn, look at that caboose. But, it's not hard to keep a woman happy. Just help them a little bit now and then, here and there. Don't yell at them and shit. And if you keep them happy, then they cook you dinner and they take care of you. And it's a really good trade, honestly. I mean, we went out on this. Oh, speaking of, what are you doing? Oh, cutting onions for the burgers. Awesome. I love fresh onion on a burger. Well, I mean, as an Orthodox Christian, it's kind of my duty to lead, protect, and help my wife. So, you know what I mean? It is my Christian obligation to be a good husband. Of course, if I wanted to be hardcore, I also have the right, according to my religion, if she acts up, to smack her, but not hard, just enough to let her know she messed up. Kind of like Sean Connery, every now and then you just got to give him a little slap, just to let him know. Of course, if I slapped my wife, she would shoot me in the face with her Glock while I was asleep. So I will not be doing that because she is a Dane, and yeah, she would not allow that. But you're not allowed to beat your wife. But if you give them a little smack, that's just corrective, whatever. If you're mean to your wife, she can go to the priest and tell the priest that you're an actual dick. And then the church will get involved. And you do not want that. Like I know a guy who effed up so bad that the priest said that he can never take communion for 10 years. Like he can go to church, but he can never have the sacrament or anything for 10 years. That's how bad he effed up. Anyway, I'm going to step away. I'm grabbing a drink. I'll be right back. You might even still hear me. Puppy! Oh my God.
Now, do you want, normally on a smash burger, you cook it on the onion? Do you want me to cook it on the onion, or do you just want fresh onion?
Baby, I will take it however you make it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just pleased as hell that you're cooking dinner.
Okay.
Which you cook dinner every night. It's not like this is a special occasion.
No.
But I don't know. I think it's because my ex-wife was so horrible. Like, she wouldn't even bring me a glass of tea if I was dying of thirst. That it made me develop like actual thankfulness for when people do good stuff for me.
Well, plus you like my cooking.
Well, I love your cooking. You're a great cook. I'd tell anybody that. I mean, my wife can make pulled pork like you would make meatloaf out of. And yeah, right. A lot of my friends and stuff, when they come over, they put barbecue sauce on it. I never do. Because her pulled pork, the way she cooks and seasons it, is so damn good. I think the barbecue sauce actually takes away from. No, you guys could hear me the whole time. I'm sure my kitchen's just right over there. I mean, our house isn't huge. It's not like we're rich or anything. I mean, we live in a normal, lower middle class house on a cul-de-sac in a freaking subdivision in a city, you know, like the majority of Americans. No, she knows about the smacking thing, and she told me if I ever did it, she would shoot me. So I will never do it because I've had a lot of people shoot at me in my past, didn't enjoy it. So having someone shoot at me while I'm laying asleep in my own bed seems really bad. Like, I really don't want that. But then again, it would be cool if I'm like, as long as I said my prayers and everything and ask for repentance, it's like I lay down to go to sleep. I wake up in heaven. It's like, well, okay. So at the end of the day, I guess it's not a bad way to go.
I didn't say I'd kill you. I said I'd shoot you.
Oh, see, that's threatening. She just said, I didn't say I'd kill you. I just said I'd shoot you. This is like, oh, so maiming, obviously, is the order of the day. Not actual execution. We're going to do some maiming. It's like, damn, woman. But that's what you get. You marry a Viking. Don't like, if you marry a Viking, don't be surprised at her being a Viking. You know, Viking's going to Vike, right? And I married a Viking. So I can't be super whatever when she decides that, you know, there's some blood debt that is owed, and definitely people have to die about it. So yeah. Of course, I'm a Viking too. So even though, see, I claim Slav a lot because I just love the culture and everything about the whole, you know, Western Slavic thing. But by bloodline and lineage, I'm actually more Swedish and Norwegian. That's good, man. That is great. And cooking goes both ways. Like, I don't think it was yesterday, but the day before, I got up before she did. And she got up and wandered around and got her coffee. And I cooked her eggs exactly the way she likes them, which she showed me how to do it. I didn't know how to cook them that way. And, you know, some buttered toast and, you know, so I served her breakfast. I mean, yeah, it goes both ways, you know. And then for dinner, we just went to Publix and got a pub sub. And if you know what a pub sub is, then you're a leg up on everyone else in the world. Like, I don't think Publix is in the north, and it makes me feel really bad for you Yanks up there because they're amazing. That's pretty much all I can say about that. To quote the genius that is Forrest Gump. And that's all I can say about that. Pub subs, amazing. But for those of you who don't get the whatever, we have a shopping grocery store in the South called Publix. And every Publix has a deli and will make you subs, and they're cheap. And they're made with boar's head meat and cheese, and you can get a whole big ass sub on whatever kind of bread you want. So if you want keto or whatever, and it's like $8, and you can load it up. Like I put banana peppers, black olives, lettuce, tomato, onion, and then a shit ton of red vinegar. I always tell them, put red vinegar on that thing until it's leaking, right? And they're always like, they give me a look, but they do it because I tell them I want it to be dripping wet. I had a Pickle Barrel, my favorite sub shop. I never heard of one of those. It's like in the area I live for a while, we had a Bojangles. Man, I love that place. And then for some reason, they ripped the whole restaurant up until it was nothing but a flat slab and turned it into a commie coffee. And I'm like, my brother was happy when he is down here because he drinks that commie coffee bullshit. But I was pissed off because one of my favorite soft drinks, and I could drink soft drinks back then, is Chairwine. And the only restaurant in our entire area that served Chairwine was that Bojangles. So I would literally go there specifically just to order a large Chairwine with, a Cajun biscuit or whatever else, It's like the food didn't matter. I might as well have thrown the biscuit out the freaking window. What I wanted was that big Chairwine. Bozeman still have one. You want to know? I'll tell you something that's weird, right? The wife and I drove to Alabama. And we drove to the part of Alabama that's actually part of the Appalachian, which I didn't even know was a thing, but it is. And I have never seen more Captain D's anywhere in the world that I've been than Alabama. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. People in Alabama just love themselves some Captain D's because you can drive all over Florida and never see a Captain D's anywhere in Orlando. But as soon as you hit the border into Alabama, there'll be 3 Captain D's within 10 miles. And my wife and I love Captain D's. And we're always like, what the fuck is up with this, Like, why are all the Captain D's in Alabama? But they are. So, is that like important? No. Is it like a weird thing? Yes. It's a weird thing because I'm just like, whatever, Now, one thing we got down here, though, is Moe's. I don't know if you guys got Moe's wherever you live. Like, I doubt our British friend has a Moe's, but they have a burrito called the Home Wrecker, and it's like a 2-pound burrito. And it's not expensive. So you can go to a Moe's and our diner down here is like Denny's. We got Denny's and some places you got a Perkins. And sometimes it's just nice, especially now that I'm 55. You can just roll in there and get a Grand Slam for like $1.99 or whatever it used to be. And, you know, the lady comes by and fills your coffee up and you just sit there and eat your eggs and, you know, no, diners, yeah, Denny's, I think, is pretty much everywhere. And then we've got another thing, and I know, Lee, you've heard of this, and it's big in the South. It's Denny's, except for people who are drunk and want to get into fist or gunfights. And we call that the Waffle House or the Huddle House. Same thing. Same exact thing. And this is the place where you roll in and the guy behind the counter on the flat top cooking eggs is wearing a ballistic vest with plates in, because I don't know what it is, but you roll in there about 2:30 in the morning, half drunk, and it's like freaking WWF. I mean, like the memes you hear about Waffle House, they're not all wrong, you know? I mean, some of them take it a little over the top, but by and large, yeah, Waffle House is a great place to go if you're looking to get into a fight with a meth head. Hell, half the time, the guy who's cooking your food is cooking meth in the back room anyway. So, I mean, you know, it just is what it is. It is basically the most Florida man redneck thing you can think of. And they're open 24/7. So 24/7, you can go get some eggs and a fist fight if that's what you're wanting to do. So, yeah. We don't have a Wingstop. And after they started all the DEI shit, our Hooters shut down. Now, this is a legend I've heard. I call it a legend because I heard it, but I don't know if it's true or not. That a different company has recently bought Hooters, and they're going to go back on all of the changes that the last guys did, which means instead of fat chicks and chicks with dicks, when you go to the Hooters, you'll actually be able to see some hot chicks with fake boobs. And that's the only reason to go to a Hooters, because their food sucks. Let's be honest. You can get better wings anywhere. Freaking Pizza Hut has better wings than Hooters. But Pizza Hut don't got a hot 25-year-old chick with giant tits. That's kind of the difference, you know. Me personally, I'm not a huge fan of Hooters because of that very reason. I've never been a fan of strip clubs either. Like the last time I went to a strip club, which was 2 decades ago at least, my brother paid the stripper to leave us alone, because she kept coming around asking if we want to dance. And he had just come down to visit me, and we just stopped in to drink some beer. And he eventually was like, look, if I give you $20, will you just pretend like we're not here? Because we've got a couple beers. We're just drinking some beers. Is that cool? And she was like, yeah, but she was offended. But it's like, bitch. I mean, this is at 2 in the afternoon too, when all the strippers got C-section scars and shit like that. It's like, look, you know, nobody wants to be mean to you. I know you're making money, maybe to feed your kids, maybe to buy some meth, whatever it is. I mean, you do you, right? But none of us are interested in looking at your floppy 50-year-old tits and your C-section scars. We just wanted to have a couple of Guinnesses in peace. That is a 100% true story. We just wanted to have a few Guinnesses in peace. I've seen the Waffle House. Yeah. Waffle House is indeed its own thing. And even though it's a horrible thing, it's a thing that everyone in the South is proud of. It's like, you know, Waffle House. That's where boys become men, is in the parking lots of Waffle Houses. You know, whether it's fighting or, you know, fooling around with somebody in your parked car. I mean, yeah, a lot of young boys grow up and realize what it is to be a man at the Waffle House. Plus, I mean, their eggs and bacon and shit is good when you're drunk. It's 2 in the morning. You just left the pub. You got belly full of freaking Guinness or gin or whatever. I mean, it's at that point when you need that greasy breakfast, man. You know, you want that, the greasier, the better. You know, throw on some freaking greasy fried potatoes and some greasy sausage links and some greasy bacon and some greasy eggs. If you got some stewed tomato, throw some tomato on there. Freaking let's do it, you know? I mean, I'm talking, if you can get it, get a full English. Hey, Shadow, what have you been up to? I haven't seen you in ever. And you just stopped in to say, hey, bastard, I love you. And happy 4th, my man. Happy 4th. Happy 4th to everybody. All around the world. Happy 4th. I know it's an American holiday, but that's no reason for people around the world not to get drunk. Like, we do that shit on Cinco de Mayo, and that's not even a holiday in Mexico, really. And I know St. Paddy's Day in Ireland, you go to church for mass. You don't dress up in a green hat and get pissed drunk in the street. So if you live in somewhere in Europe and you're all like, hey, F it, it's the 4th of July. Let's get drunk. I say go for it, man. Not you can borrow our holiday as a drinking holiday. And I 100% support that. Shadow, you know we love you. I've been on the old man schedule, though. I've been going to bed about 6:30 at night and waking up at like 4 a.m. So I've been missing a lot of stuff. So, yeah. Yeah, but I'm sending out, to quote Lamar Burton or Kendrick Lamar, sending out honey to all my babies. And you guys can all be my babies, but not like in a gay sexual way, more like in a platonic brotherhood way, you know, like Vikings or Spartans or something. So yeah, but yep, I am 100. I mean, I know I'm like talking a million miles an hour. It's because I'm an Appalachian and that's how we do. But I am 100% just feeling the positive vibes and the love today. For all of you guys, even some of you guys that aren't in the chat currently that have sent me comments that were pretty hateful. You know what? Nothing but love for you, man. And as I said, if I say anything that offends anyone in any way, I beg your forbearance because, you know, that's all I can do is beg your forgiveness. No, Jose, I have been playing Dune Awakens. I think I've got close to 300 hours on that game since it went live, which is, I think, less than a month ago. Yeah, if you're super busy, man, take care of your business. I mean, you got a wife, you got kids. I mean, you got shit going on. Nobody can hold you away for that. You should send Shadow and Sun. Shadow has his own Discord. Go post your art. I mean, shit. Show it to him. I think it's good, but you know, I have just about the artistic skills to draw a stick figure. So, yeah, I suck. But that doesn't mean I can't tell when somebody's good. You know what I mean? It's like what's his name said about porn. I don't know how to describe it, but I know it when I see it. So, yeah, that's what you need to do, Jose, is get over to Shadow's Discord and send him some of your art and see how he feels about it, which I'm sure he'll love it because it's good. Gotta run. God bless. God bless you too, sir, and your family and this great nation we live in. Even if my family fought for the wrong side during the Civil War, it's okay. You know, I still consider myself a patriot. As a matter of fact, I'm a double patriot. I out patriot most of you patriots because I'm a patriot to the CSA and the USA. So I got you guys beat. I'm super patriot, man. I love everything about America. So, except for that whole slavery thing back in the day. I don't like that at all. But you guys get what I'm saying. Yeah, Shadow, if he tells you he's going to do something on email or anything, you can pretty much carve that shit in stone. Shadow is a very reliable person, unlike me. Self-taught artist, well, most of them are. Sergeant Rock, man. Sergeant Rock was good. Do you remember, I think it was Marvel Comics, but could have been DC, had the comic Nam? And it was just, every comic book was just like stories from Vietnam. Man, I used to read the shit out of those. Like when I say I never liked superhero comic books, I mean it. But Conan and Nam, yeah, I would read the shit out of that. Give yourself a slap. Yeah. You know what? That is one of the most bro things I've read today, Lee. And that's like, I wish that could be carved like on a giant plaque somewhere in every single country in that language so that people would read it and be like, huh, so you mean I don't have to agree with everything someone says to be their friend or watch them or just be polite? Huh, imagine that. I mean, that's the problem right there. Oh, Savage Sword of Conan, that was my favorite. Every month, I would save up all my nickels and dimes and cash in all the bottles I could find for the dime. And when I had my $1.50 and I knew it was time, I'd go down to the convenience store because the convenience store, which was like a mile away, I had to walk, had that rack on it, and it always would have Savage Sword of Conan. Back when it was Basima and Ernie Chan was the main people. Like, I didn't get the Conan the Barbarian comic, the little color one, because I thought it was for kids. Bear in mind, I was like 12. But I wanted that big black and white, beautiful Savage Sword one because I thought that was the one for grown-ups. And so I bought a shit ton of those. I was buying those things forever. How you doing, Jose?
Hello, how are you?
I am doing wonderful. It's the 4th of July. Great holiday, of course, up here. But like I said, if you guys want to get pissed drunk in other countries, you have my permission. Knock yourself out. Tip one back when you're at the pub later. Even if you're British and you're like the colonies, they rebelled against us, just tip one back because we had a good row, but now we're bros. So tip one back because, no matter how effed up shit gets, us hillbillies over here and colonials will always have your back unless you turn into Airstrip 1 or some shit. But even then, because the thing people don't know about Ingsoc is the capital of Ingsoc was the United States. England was just an airstrip. And Ingsoc stands for English socialism, not British, but the language, English. So America, Canada, Australia, all of the ex-colonies were all part of Ingsoc. And then Eurasia was Russia. And it was from Siberia all the way to the channel. And then East Asia was the smallest one, and it was China. And they weren't socialists. They had like some kind of weird death cult. So anyway, I've looked way too much into... No, I'm fans of them on the 4th of July. Look, the thing is, and I can say this as a veteran who has fought in combat multiple times. The British were our enemies, but they were never people we hated. You understand what I mean? It's like we wanted to be independent of the British because of political shit. But at the end of the day, we were related to them. Not only were we related to the guys we were fighting against, we were them. We just wanted to do a different political thing, right? So if the British guys were willing to stand in lines and march into musket fire and be heroes and shit, I mean, I tipped my glass to those redcoats, right? I mean, other than us, they put a beating on basically everybody. And the only reason they didn't put a beating on us is honestly, they got bored of it. Not trying to deflate the 4th of July, but let's be honest. The British, they were in debt. They're fucking around with the French. They had a lot of shit going on. So at a certain point, it just made sense to let the colonies go. And they did. But had they been really serious about it, maybe we would have won. Maybe not. Hard to say, you know. But like I said at the beginning of this, any soldier willing to march out on the battlefield and fight for his nation and what he believes in gets a toast from me. I don't care what country they're from.
Yeah, I also respect veterans a lot.
Yep. You know,
Only
the young men
veterans know.
that are out there doing their thing, I'm not going to hate on them. Like, you know what? I might have removed some Iraqi people, maybe from the earth, but I still love them. I have no ill will towards the Iraqi soldiers. Or are they about done? Okay. Give me a little bit. None at all. None at all. As a matter of fact, I've said this multiple times. When I was in the Gulf, the people I really didn't care for were the Saudis because they had slaves and they were assholes. But the Iraqi, I mean, I had no problem with those guys. It didn't mean I wouldn't take out an objective, you know, remove a threat to my existence, but I didn't hate them. I actually felt kind of bad for them and still do. Oh, yeah, the British always look great. You will notice that our 4th Infantry, the pipe and drum company dresses up in British red coats, you know, and that's the American Honor Guard. I don't know how many of you watched our American 250th anniversary, but like one of the first units to march in front of the president for review was dressed up like British redcoats, playing the fifes and the, because I mean, that's what we were, man. Yep, brothers today. We might have had a difference of opinion on how politics should have ran, that we needed to work out, but we worked it out. Look, I've had friends in real life that we've had differences in opinion on certain things, and you get out in the street, work it out like a man. Well, I was 16, but you know what I'm saying. And then you're still friends, though. I mean, you know, 3rd Infantry, Fife and Drum Platoon. That was my company in the old guard. You were in the old guard, Daryl. I respect the old guard like I respect the Green Beret, except I think it's harder to get in the old guard than it is the Green Beret. And it's hard to be a Green Beret. Like 10% make it to actually get in their beret and their tab. And the old guard's like that. I mean, you've got an army with maybe we can have up to 1 million guys in the army, and you've got like 3 or 4 companies of the old guard. I mean, it's like such a elite formation. And they are the ones that will shoot your ass if you're an American or not an American. If you cross that chain at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and start acting a fool, they'll give you a couple warnings. And if you keep up, they will put a 7.62 right in your ass. Those Garands they carry are loaded. So when they chamber that shit and they say, get back over the fence, they actually mean it. They will kill you. and they have the full right to do it. You know, so if you ever visit America and you decide to come watch the whole thing at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers, yeah, do not F with those guys. Just sit on the other side of the fence and take your pictures of the changing of the guard. It's like the British guys when you see the dudes on the horse run people over, and I don't feel bad for them at all. It's like, do not F with that dude's horse. That is the Queen's Guard, or now the King's Guard. I mean, forgive me. I mean, the Queen, my entire life, it was the Queen until now. And people want to go and F with those dudes. And then they get all like, oh my God, I can't believe that dude just ran him over. It's like, don't fuck with that guy's horse. What's wrong with you? Just rude, you know? Go to somebody's country and then start effing around with their royal guard. You get what you deserve. Up there you are. Yeah, homie, I got rid of, or I am getting rid of all of my X-Wing shit. And I have like 12 TIE fighters. Nice. I have the Millennium Falcon too, the original. But I'm getting rid of them because I'm not going to spend the money to update, 50 miniatures to second edition. I'm just not going to do it. Now, that said, my burgers are done. The salad is done. The wife is going to expect me to hang out with her after she's been working her butt off all day. So as much, I just, one last time, peace and love to all of you. Enjoy your 4th, even if you're not an American. And here's to all the brave soldiers. And I will catch you guys later.
And happy Independence Day for you there.
Thank you very much, sir. And happy X-Wing Day for you.